Hello, welcome to my presentation. Today I will talk about assessing writing skills. My name is Nguyen Tu Oanh from class 67B. My presentation is divided into 4 parts: understanding writing, ways of assessing student writing, types of writing assessment, and 4 key components of writing test. So let's move on to the first part. Understanding writing. In this part, I will give you an overview about writing and writing assessment. About general introduction to writing assessment. The ability to write continues to be a key characteristic of any educated person. Our definition of writing is getting more complex because of the development of social network and technology. So the ways of assessing what learners have a writing are also becoming more complex. This offers us many opportunities both for more creative ways of formally assessing writing products and for using assessment formatively to support learners' writing process. Another important part of writing and writing assessment is product and process writing, also known as writing as a process and writing that is a product. So, first about writing as a process. The definition. Process writing is an approach to writing where language learners focus on the process by which they produce their writing products rather than uh, on the products themselves. In the end, learners surely need to and are required to complete their products, yet the writing process itself is stretched more. The procedure of writing as a process. There are 3 stages. The first stage is rewriting. In this stage, the teacher needs to stimulate student creativity to get them thinking how to approach a writing topic. In this stage, the most important thing is the flow of ideas, and it's not always necessary that students actually produce much writing work. If they do, then the teacher can contribute with advice on how to improve their initial ideas. The second stage, focusing ideas. During this stage, students write without much attention to the accuracy of their work or the organization. The most important feature is meaning. Here, the teacher or other students should concentrate on the content of the writing. It is coherent. Is there anything missing? Anything extra? And the last stage is evaluating, structuring, and editing. Now the writing is adapted to a readership. Students should focus more on form and on producing a finished piece of work. The teacher can help with error correction and give organizational advice. There is the changing in roles of teacher and student in writing as a process. The teacher needs to move away from being a marker to a reader, responding to the content of student writing more than the form. Students should be encouraged to think about the audience. Who is the writing for? What does this reader need to know? Students also need to realize that what they put down on the paper can be changed. Things can be delayed, added, restructured, reorganization. About writing that's a product. The definition. Product writing is an approach to teaching writing that focuses on student final production, that is, the text they are asked to produce. There is enhanced importance in the end product, and this affects the way a product writing lesson is staged. About the procedure of writing that is a product, there are four stages. The first one is modal text. Reading the modal text, analyzing features of the genre, content, vocabulary, grammar, text organization. The second stage is controlled practice. This stage providing students with practice of the key features required to write the text genre. The next stage is organizing ideas. This stage gives students time to think about what they're going to write and generate ideas on content and language to produce the text. And the last stage is final product. Finally, students produce their own text. Product writing does not foresee the composition of multiple drafts, but it is still essential that the teacher provide learners with feedback on their production. So, what is the differences between the process and product writing? Product writing focus on the end product. Students are not required to generate and brainstorm ideas as thoroughly as they do in process writing. Instead, they spend more time analyzing and practicing the main features of the text genre they are supposed to write. Okay, that's were an overview about writing and writing assessment. So as we know, we have the formal and official test for writing assessment. So what about other ways besides the formal and official test of writing? So I will show you some ways of assessing student writing. There are three different ways of assessing student writing beside the official test. It is in-class writing, group writing, and writing conferences. So, the first way, in-class writing. So what is in-class writing? In-class writing is some assessment take place during class time, usually as part of a seminar. About the purpose of in-class writing, it helps students realize the idea-generating potential of writing and its value when it's in not great. Give students practice in the short or single draft writing expected of them in the exam situations. It helps students focus their ideas as they prepare for formal assignment. Discover what students understand and what is confusing to them. It improves teacher ability to give effective feedback on assignments. About the characteristic of in-class writing. In-class writing promotes active learning, require limited time to complete. Encourage discussion between student and between student and teacher. Remain mostly ungraded. It's engage all students, and it may be expanded into longer, more formal assignments. Here's some example of in-class writing so you can imagine what kind of activity is used in class writing. About draft of introductory paragraph. This activity asks students to write a draft of their intro paragraph and progress statement. This activity asks students to write a short evaluation of their progress. The second way of assessing student writing is group writing. So what is group writing? Group writing is assessment includes two or more people working together to produce a writing document. About the pros and cons of group writing. The pros: multiple brains are better than one, both for generating ideas and for getting a job done. But the cons sometimes can be stressful because there are various opinions and writing a style to incorporate into one final product that pleases everyone. About the process of group writing, there are three stages. The first stage is planning. Planning includes everything that is done before writing. In collaborative writing, this is a particularly important step since it's crucial that all members of a team agree about the basic elements of the project and the logistics that will govern the project completion. The second stage is drafting. Drafting as a team involves crafting sentences of your paper together by either sitting in the same room or collaborating synchronously online. And the last stage is revising. Revising for most writing projects, we need to go beyond making line edits that revise all the sentence level. Instead, you will want to thoroughly consider all aspects of the draft in order to create a version of it that satisfies each member of the team. And the last way of assessing student writing is writing conferences. What is writing conferences? It is one-on-one meeting between the student and the teacher that lasts about 5 to 10 minutes. And during this time, they review a piece of writing. The purpose of writing conference is The primary purpose of writing conference is to help unlock the potential of students and writers and to help them understand and realize their potential. Using individualized teaching, introspective questioning, and clear instructions for improvement, students will gain a better understanding of the process of writing. The provision of prompt feedback and suggestion during the act of writing helps students to take a closer look at their work and improve it. And here is an example of writing conference. As you can see, here is an example of writing conference form. We have the student name, the goals of that student. We have their strength and goal and plans for improvement, so we can get the detailed information and the progress of improvement of that student, so they can strengthen their writing and get they to improve. So that's some ways of assessing student writing beside the official test. So about the formal test, what type of writing assessment are used? So we will investigate it in the third part, types of writing assessment. The type of writing assessment I divide into two types, indirect assessment and direct assessment. About indirect assessment, it typically consists of multiple choice tests on grammar, usage, and vocabulary. Other indirect assessment, such as compass, are used to place students into remedial or mainstream writing course. The method is used in indirect assessment is multiple choice. So about direct assessment, Direct assessment requires at least one sample student writing and are viewed by many writing assessment scholars. Direct assessment is more valid than indirect tests because they are assessing actual samples of writing. The methods are used in direct assessment are portfolio, timed essay, and rubric. Here's some example about indirect assessment and direct assessment. About indirect assessment, high-stake standardized tests such as the ACT, SAT, and GRE, which are most often used by colleges and universities for admission purpose. About direct assessment, a writer placer ESL, known as a part of AQ placer, or attempt essay test. Alright, as the last part, I mentioned about some methods in writing assessment. So over here, methods are some popular method in writing assessment. They are portfolio, timed essay, rubric, multiple choice, and AES. About portfolio, portfolio assessment is typically used to assess what students have learned at the end of a course or over a period of several years. Course portfolios consist of multiple samples of student writing and reflective letter or essay in which students describe their writing and work for the course. About the timed essay. Timed essay tests were developed as an alternative to multiple choice. Timed essay tests are often used to place students into writing course appropriate for their skill level. These tests are usually broadcast, meaning that testing takes place in a specific location in which students are given a prompt to write in response to within a set time limit. About rubric. A rubric is a tool used in writing assessment that can be used in several writing contexts. A rubric consists of a set of criteria or description that guides a reader to score or grade a writer. About multiple choice. Multiple choice tests contain questions about usage, grammar, and vocabulary, and each question in multiple choice test will have more than one distraction. And the last one, AES. AES is short for automate essay scoring. It's the use of non-human computer-assisted assessment practice to grade score or grade writing tasks. So that was some types of writing assessment. So what is the key components of writing tests? We will figure out that in the four part of four key components of writing test. As you can see on the screen, there are four key components of writing test. The first one is the task, the writer, the reader, and the last one is scoring procedure. So let's move on to the first component, the task. Both direct writing test and classroom assessment of writing start with the shaping of student work through well-designed tasks. The task should be clear in instruction, suitable for students you teach, clarified in how to score, and be valid and reliable. The effects of writing tasks should be twofold. To provide meaningful information about student writing quality, but also to provide students with meaningful learning opportunities. And here's an example of the writing assessment task. As you can see, we have the main topic, and some guide for the writer so they can image what they will that they have to do in that task. So the second component is the writer. Before designing a writing assessment, you need to define who are the writers, how the test influence on their writing performance. When designing a writing test, you should make sure that the understanding and expectation of writers about the test are as close to yours as possible. However, each writer needs to fit their work with the work of writing topic and avoid off-topic situation. The writers can affect test format, number of tasks, possible task type, length of time for each task, and the criteria in scoring. The third component is the reader. The readers, usually referred to as raters, are the people who read and score the writing performance of the writers. So different readers will have different judgment and respond to different phases of writing. On the test, the readers have to assume that all the writing they judge has been written by someone who fits into the mold of the generic hypothetical writer for whom the test was designed. So, the last component of writing assessment is scoring procedure. The scoring process is affected by experience of raters, criteria for specific tests, and there are two types of scoring procedure. They are holistic scoring and analytic scoring. About holistic scoring, the characteristic of holistic scoring are holistic scoring rates the overall proficiency level reflect in a given sample of student writing. In typical holistic scoring session, each writing sample is read quickly and then just against a rating scale or scoring rubric that outlines the scoring criteria. About the pros and cons of holistic scoring. The pros, holistic scoring is reliable, provide guidelines retaining to rater training and rating session administration are faithfully. Holistic scoring is more economical than analytic scoring, since the readers are required to make only one decision for each writing sample. For this reason, holistic scoring is commonly used in large-scale assessment of writing. And about the cons, the major disadvantage of holistic scoring emerges from the limitation of single score, which gives useful ranking information but no details. That is, holistic scoring cannot provide useful diagnostic information about a person's writing ability, as a single score does not allow raters to distinguish between various aspects of writing such as control of situs, depth of vocabulary, organization, and so on. Here's an example of holistic scoring. As you can see, we have a different criteria and the detailed description for that criteria so that the rater can look on here and score the writer performance. So what about analytic scoring? The characteristic of analytic scoring are analytic scoring procedures involve the separation of various features of a composition into components for scoring purpose. Depending on the purpose of the assignment, text might be read on such features as content, organization, cohesion, register, vocabulary, grammar, or mechanics. Analytic scoring scheme, though, provide more detailed information about a test taker performance in different aspects of writing. About the pros and cons of analytic scoring. The pros. Uh, Analytic scoring provides more useful diagnostic information about student writing abilities. That is, it provides more information about strengths and weakness of students, and thus also instructor and curriculum developers to tailor instruction more closely to the needs of their student. Moreover, analytic scoring is particularly useful for LC learners who are more likely to show a marked or uneven profile across different aspects of writing. Uh, Analytic scoring is easier to train writers to use analytic scoring schemes. By virtue of such schemes, explicit criteria in separate components than to train writers to use holistic rubrics. About the cons of analytic scoring. Analytic scoring takes longer than holistic scoring, since readers are required to make more than one decision for every writing sample. So, there is an example of analytic scoring rubric for writing. And you can see that divided into different level and different criteria. And each level of that criteria will have the detailed description. So the reader can look at here and have the compare with the writer performance, so can get the exactly score for that performance. So that's what my presentation about assessing writing skill, and thanks for your listening.